Welcome to this episode of Talk Commerce. Today I have Joe Anderson. He is the CEO and founder of Connex Ecommerce. Joe, go ahead, do an introduction for yourself. Tell us your day-to-day role and one of your passions in life.
My day-to-day role is to help companies that sell B2B or a combination of B2B and B2C automate complex workflows with their selling channels and their accounting systems. We work with QuickBooks, we work with NetSuite, Acumatica, Sage Intacct. We're building an Epicor integration. Our specialty is in complex workflows, things that need rules primarily. I've had the company for 16 years and love what I do. I oversee overall operations, keeping the staff, assigning tasks to staff, keeping the developers on track, helping out with some of the sales support work.
That's awesome. And passions outside of work?
Passions outside of work, I play golf, play tennis, play on a travel team for a local area, and I also do weightlifting.
Awesome. All right, good. All right, so Joe, before we get going here, I do this thing called the Free Joke Project. I'm going to tell you a joke. You just give me a rating 8 through 13. So here we go.
Well,
I got to do the joke first.
Oh, here's a joke first.
Appreciate
Okay, God, I thought I had to pick a number. Okay.
Okay. I'll take 12 though. Hey, that's great. All right. So here we go. Sorry. I'm never donating to anyone collecting money for a marathon again. They just took my money and ran.
I'm going to give that a 13. That's pretty funny because here in Boston, we just had the Boston Marathon, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done it once. All right. Joe, so let's give us the elevator pitch for Connex. Give us kind of the background and how you founded it and how you came about running it.
Well, growing up as a kid, my mother did data entry for many years, and she got carpal tunnel and was later let go from her position at her employer. And it really stuck with me that data entry was a real problem. I later worked at a software company where there was an intern sitting in front of me, maybe 4 feet. And she was doing the same thing, entering data from one screen into QuickBooks Enterprise. When I later left the company, started my own business automating data entry between QuickBooks and selling channels. And I built a software as a service solution in 2013, and it took off and did really well.
All right. So Interconnects, is that kind of where the story goes?
Correct. Yes. The business, over time, we've started to move up market. We tend to work with companies that have really complex workflow issues. One of the biggest challenges in syncing any two systems is data is frequently mismatched. Another problem companies have is it says ABC Incorporated in Shopify, but it's ABC in QuickBooks, and they don't want to fix the data. They just want to create a mapping between various systems or payment methods or something to that nature. And that's something that, we fix. There are a lot of data syncing tools out there, but they're not really built to handle data. They're not built to handle problems when data is mismatched or data needs to be mapped instead of fixed in another system. Especially in the lower end, when you get under $100 a month, it's all just, if it doesn't match, it's not going to work.
And so Connex you are a replacement for Shopify, right? You're not an augmentation to Shopify. You would be a replacement to something like Shopify.
We're a workflow automation tool for e-commerce sellers. We help companies connect various systems like Shopify, like QuickBooks, like ShipStation together to create a workflow. It's a lot like when you woke up this morning, you got out of bed, you had breakfast, you went to work. That's a workflow. But what's interesting is you may want a different workflow depending on the weather or depending on the day. Like, well, it's Christmas. I don't want to wake up, have breakfast, go to work. I want to do something else. That's kind of what we do.
Okay. So think of it as sort of smart workflows, helping the merchant to make the best of their data. Talk about some of the challenges that you have in all the different systems. And my background was in e-commerce, and I know that we dealt with AS400s and all the older systems as well. How does some of those legacy systems work into this?
We have companies on QuickBooks Enterprise, which is kind of a legacy system in my opinion. People just don't want to move. It's a lot of money and time to move accounting systems, move all the data, train everybody, work out the bugs and kinks. It could cost months and tens of thousands of dollars that a business may not want to invest. So they'd rather fix an existing system than go to something completely new, even though something completely new could be a lot better for them. I found that in the business, companies are unwilling to change. They have a broken workflow with these workarounds and we have a new workflow tool. Let's make all this broken workflow stuff somewhere else. And we say, well, we want to make it run clean. So getting companies to change has been a challenge. Change the way they do things to make it fit the product. Another issue we've had is, can we make this work for everybody? How do we make Connex this really configurable system that Connex can where others can't? How do you build on all these custom workflows without breaking it for other people? And scaling, when Black Friday comes along and the Q4 order volume increases, how do you make sure your software is not going offline, especially with higher volumes of sales from more of your customers? So I think those are probably some of the biggest challenges in keeping up with the updates. Amazon, Shopify, they're frequently doing updates. I mean, Shopify did a pretty big update to their API in 2025, and it costs a lot of money and time for us to do those updates. And how do you make these changes without knocking your users offline for a significant period of time has been a challenge for us.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember back when we were doing Magento and we could wire in it directly into Magento. We wouldn't on a middle layer. Having the clients keep up with that, or having the clients not worry about keeping up with all those different updates that are now happening in your space. I would assume that that's helping them to keep their workflows going, and that you take on the responsibility so the client doesn't have to worry about those updates, right?
Correct. Yes. The benefit of paying a monthly or annual fee is we do all the updates. Many companies are unaware of all the work that goes into supporting and maintaining the software, doing the updates. Sometimes, like, there'll be a change in Amazon, for example. We pull out these order reports and they changed a parameter and we didn't know. I'm like, oh, we were able to fix it. Sometimes the changes happen and it doesn't work and we have to kind of figure it out. I mean, for what I feel like for what company's paying, it's really a steal just for all the support work that we do as a company.
Yeah, I think maybe a lot of clients would think of as an entry point as something like Zapier, right? I think that you're going one beyond that, or multiple
Yeah, we're
spaces beyond
definitely
that.
a step above. You find with general iPaaS systems that they can do like spreadsheets to databases. Like it's like you go to your primary care and you say my foot hurts, and the primary, they have a general idea of how to treat you, but they send you to a podiatrist, and the podiatrist in 10 minutes tells you exactly what's wrong. We're kind of a specialist doc, whereas a general iPaaS is more like a primary care. You can do a lot of things with them, but you're not going to get something really specialized that works for you. And you'll actually find that our price is usually lower than many of the iPaaS solutions because it's more specialized. It doesn't do as much, but it does what you need it to do.
Yeah, and you mentioned financials. So if somebody's wiring up something like a Shopify to their NetSuite, how do you work that in for the financial workflows between the two?
I think that's a great question to ask. Frequently, users will log into our software and pair the systems, and it's a web-based tool. There's no desktop software to install. We have a system to run a scheduled sync, like a cron job on a usually hourly or 24-hour basis. I recommend 24. It's because it's a more accurate, reliable sync. And when users log in, we have a series of conditions or rules. If order looks like this, put it over there. If product looks like this, put it over there. That's what we do with our system. And the rules is what makes us unique. Most companies don't have these configurable rules that our software has. You'll also find with many generic iPasses, they're more of a building solution. They're not really built for business users. We have business users running Connex, whereas you'll find with an iPass, you need someone to kind of build a tool for you. So it's just a different kind of a market.
I remember working with a company that had a custom interface that they had built, and when a problem would happen, it would end up stopping the entire workflow. How do you get around capturing errors? And like you had mentioned, if somebody does an update, and also I guess people will do like if you're doing NetSuite, somebody may do an update that ruins a workflow for you. How do you get around those type of situations?
Customer would open a support ticket. What's the order number? What's the error? So we get the steps to duplicate. We'll find the error message and then take the appropriate steps to solve it. We have developers go into Visual Studio and they run it step by step and see, it's breaking here at step 6, fix it and publish and move on.
And what does your typical client look like? Are you serving the whole range of mid-market to enterprise?
I don't like using revenue because we have really big companies and really small ones starting up. But what they look like is they have a complex workflow, usually 3 or more systems to connect. The accounting ERP is involved in that process. They usually need something custom. They have either data that's mismatched that can't easily be fixed. I had one customer, he's using Shopify as a multi-channel order management tool. And he's like, well, if the orders are tagged like this, I want them to go here. If they're tagged like that, I want them to go over there. Usually there's some unique set of business requirements that an out-of-the-box integration is not going to fulfill. I typically, in my opinion, I like companies with 5 to 10 million in revenue at least. However, I do have companies that are under 1 to 2 million that have something going on that want to use us.
What are you seeing for the trend with AI? How is AI helping what you're doing and helping what
It's been
clients
really
are doing?
helpful with writing code and tests. We'll say, hey, AI, like, here's a problem. Can you, like, here's the code. Can you fix it? And it's been helpful, like, just generating code for us, like boilerplate, like work that would take us days, we could do in, under an hour. I use AI to write code that would have taken me a day in like 45 minutes, fix it. So it's been really helpful in that aspect. We also have in our rules engine an AI ask it to generate rules for you that we've been working on. That customers have been using that. So we've been using it for customer support. We've been using it to write some of our code. Sometimes customers will email us with a QuickBooks related error, and we'll use like Perplexity to Google it, and it will say, yeah, here are the steps to fix it. So some problems are not related to Connex, but we step in and fix them anyways.
I was just at a conference last week, and complex B2B is one of the target markets for a lot of these e-commerce platforms out there. And I would imagine then for you, complex B2B is one of your core client bases. Give us an example of some of the complexities that people are encountering that you've overcome.
Well, with many companies who should put the orders into their accounting system, like a QuickBooks, they send them to ShipStation, and then once the order is shipped, they put it back into their accounting tool, the QuickBooks, and send an invoice to the customers. There's 4 to 6 steps for many of our customers. That's a frequent one that we obtain. Other customers who sell mixed B2B, B2C, they want to summarize all the B2C orders in one big order. So they want like to do it in a batch, whereas the B2B sales they want individually. So that's pretty common we've seen with our customer base. One way that we're different is that we do meetings with customers, we onboard them, they get access to developers. We're kind of like a developer for hire, so to speak, for a lot of our customers.
What are you most excited about coming up this year now for e-commerce and where things are headed with all the changes that are happening?
Yeah, I look forward to the agentic commerce and the checkouts. I'm looking forward to the day when we start having AI agents contacting us on customers' behalf and like, hey, we want to buy your product. That would be really interesting. I think the AI will do a better job at evaluating our content and say, yeah, you have a crazy workflow. You got to go to Connex. So that's what I'm really looking forward to with e-commerce and seeing if we could build a product around agentic, help feed it more information on what products to buy.
Yeah, I was at eTail Boston last year, and I've moderated a panel, and I asked the audience who's using agentic AI, and nobody was using it yet. And I still think that nobody's quite using it yet, but it's on the
We have an
horizon.
order manager product. We were using Pega Launchpad. We built a workflow automation tool, kind of like a mini ERP we've also built.
Okay.
I have used some, but we primarily use AI to generate some of the code and tests right now.
What do you see in terms of AI and the agents? And I'll just back up a minute. I saw a couple weeks ago, Salesforce is also offering their e-commerce solution without a front end. So it's API only. Do you see that as a solution that you would integrate with agents and buying and you wouldn't need a web interface at all?
That's a really good idea for a product for Connex. I'd definitely be open to building an interface like that. I mean, it's essentially we work with e-commerce APIs all the time. It wouldn't surprise me if one of our iPaaS solutions that we use with Connex actually built a connector to this Salesforce e-commerce API, and then we could just probably work through that. But yeah, I see that as valuable for these agents to start making decisions. I think buying software like ours is very complex. I think it'd be helpful to have agents go out to a couple of vendors and say, yeah, these are the top 2.
Yeah, the opposite side of the agent is the person on the other side, right? So ideally, there's an agent who's talking to an agent on the merchant side. How do you see that working in with where they're talking to each other?
Oh, I see that working in. I think that the agent will scan the website FAQs to gather detail about the product. I mean, if you go ChatGPT and you say, I have a complex workflow with Shopify B2B and QuickBooks, you'll probably pop us up. I see them interacting. They won't ask simple questions. Like they can probably go on the internet and say, yeah, this is what it is. And maybe more questions of like, how do I sign up? Discuss the guided trial, things that are gated. Here at Connex, we offer a guided trial where users pay a small fee and then we show proof of concept. I think the agents will talk about things that are gated behind some sort of paywall. That's where I see it going, because if they know what's on the website, they're not going to ask a second time. They've looked at the pricing page. They've looked at the homepage.
Right. Yeah. Joseph, we have a few minutes left. As we close out the podcast, I give everybody a chance to do a shameless plug about anything they'd like. What would you like to plug today?
Well, I'd like to talk about, complex workflows with e-commerce. I think one of the challenges that many companies face is that they're doing things by hand. And I think a lot of accountants, salespeople, people in operations are frustrated. I think that there is a way to automate this. So I urge companies that have, a complex workflow between, an e-commerce or ERP or selling channel. If the integration hasn't been built yet, to give us a call. We'd love to talk to you, work things out.
And how do they get a hold of you?
They can go to our site at connexecommerce.com and click on the Speak with an Expert on the top right and complete a quick questionnaire, and they can set up a call, and we'll do a 15-minute workflow assessment.
That's awesome. Joe Anderson is the CEO and founder of Connex Ecommerce. Thank you so much for being here today.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Brent.